everybody! Being a writer is glamorous. It's filled with wonder and imagination, fame and fortune, and so much money. Or maybe that's bullshit. Writers have a lot of wild ideas about the industry. They think they're writing the next great American novel, or if their writing gets rejected, it's because no one appreciates their genius. Maybe you're getting rejected because your book sucks. Ever considered that? It kind of makes sense why people have such a warped perception of the industry. A lot of the information about the business wasn't readily available until maybe the last decade. People didn't have any idea what it's actually like until writers started to be candid on the internet. Which is exactly what I'm doing today. I'm listing the 10 most common expectations that writers have about writing and publishing, and why these expectations are ludicrous. This topic was requested by one of my patrons over on Patreon, AJ Mason. Like so many writers, she had no idea what to expect upon publishing. Should she expect to sell 10 books, 100 books, or 1,000,000 books? I'm gonna provide that answer, whether you like it or not. Some of these truths are gonna be a kick in the dick. Okay, a lot of these truths are gonna be a kick in the dick. But they're vital to know if you want to avoid disappointment and, more importantly, have great success. In order to make it in the industry, you need to understand the industry, and I'm gonna help you do just that. Before we get started, a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes available for people who love learning, want to explore their creativity, or learn brand new skills. If you've got a specific skill you're looking to master, Skillshare is a great place to start. They've got classes ranging in topics from illustration to marketing, graphic design to mailing lists, and of course, they have a ton of classes in creative writing. One of the great things about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, which means no ads. They also have new premium classes launched each week, which means there's always something new to discover. And their entire catalog is now available with subtitles in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. I am both a student at Skillshare as well as a teacher. I have 3 classes available. The newest one is all about how to self-publish your book from start to finish. It's a step-by-step guide to self-publishing the right way so you can tackle the process easily and effectively. I've also got a couple of classes all about digital marketing for writers so you can grow your author platform and have an amazing book release. Whether you're looking to grow your craft or expand new skills, Skillshare has you covered. Even better, right now you can try Skillshare for free. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below will get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare. Do yourself a favor, click the link, get yourself this free trial, and take some amazing classes. You will be so glad you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, you know what you gotta do. You gotta ring that bell. It does me a huge solid. I appreciate it immensely. Plus, you'll always be alerted whenever I have new goodies available for you. The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook, so if you like yourself some dark fantasy romance, I'm talking bloodshed and magic and kissing and loving, definitely check out this series. It's linked below. Now it's time to break down the 10 most common expectations writers have when entering this industry versus the stark, sometimes painful reality. I'm not sorry about it. Number 1, my book is going to sell millions of copies. Hate to break it to you, but there's a 99% chance that that won't happen. It's really hard to find reliable averages for book sales. I've been researching for years and I've found at least 20 different averages stated. What I can say is, based on my research, the highest average number of books sold that I've seen is 10,000 copies. That means, according to this figure, the average book sells 10,000 copies in its lifetime. On the other hand, the lowest average I found is 99 copies. That means, according to this figure, the average book sells 99 copies in its lifetime. That's a really wide range. But most of the sources I've read stated that the average book sells 3,000 to 5,000 copies in its lifetime. This does not mean you are doomed to repeat this figure. The Savior's Champion has sold way more than 10,000 copies, let alone 3,000 copies. But this is about setting realistic expectations, and sometimes that requires there's a wake-up call. Real talk, a lot of successful authors don't sell millions of copies of a single book. And a lot of authors who are selling millions of books do so because they have a ton of books available, and some of them are either free or 99 cents. Again, this is not to say that no one sells millions of copies of one book or that no one sells millions of copies at full price, but it's about being realistic here and understand that those people are a fraction of a percent of the industry. Number 2, I'm gonna be a New York Times bestseller. I'm generalizing this point because it's super complicated. I could make an entire video about this, and if you'd like me to make an entire video about this, let me know in the comments below. The Amazon bestseller list is based solely on sales. The USA Today bestseller list is based solely on sales. But the New York Times bestseller list is not based solely on sales. First, in order to make the New York Times bestseller list, you need to sell at least 5,000 copies of one book within a week, preferably around 10,000 copies of that book within a week. As we already covered, most authors can't sell 10,000 copies of a book in its lifetime, let alone in 1 week. Additionally, these sales need to be diverse, as in from various retailers. This immediately eliminates books that are Kindle exclusive or books that are sold strictly through the author's website. And that accounts for a lot of books. On top of that, the New York Times bestseller list is the only bestseller list that takes author reputation into consideration. That means you could potentially follow all the rules and have well over 10,000 diverse sales. But if there's another author who is more famous or prestigious than you are, they may rank higher than you on the list or bump you off the list completely, even though they sold fewer books. This is a big reason why a lot of writers are skeptical of the New York Times bestseller list and believe that it doesn't have that much credibility. All that to say, are you famous? Are you prestigious? Are you selling 10,000 copies a week? If you can't answer yes to all 3 questions, then maybe put the New York Times bestseller list on the back burner, because it ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Number 3, I mean, realistically, at least half of my readers are gonna review the book, right? If that were the case, why are so many authors giving away their book for free just to get reviews? This is another situation where lots of different figures are cited, but the most commonly held belief is that for every 100 books you sell, you can expect maybe 1 review. At the high end, that's the optimistic estimate. 1% of your audience reviewing the book. Yikes! This is why it's so important to send out ARCs, to actively engage your audience and incentivize them. The more reviews you have, especially on Amazon, the more promotion your novel gets. Amazon will put your books in their newsletters. They'll recommend your book in the also bought lists. Not to mention the fact that readers just plain don't trust books that don't have any reviews. Roll up your sleeves and get to work, because book reviews are 100% on you. Number 4, my story has never been done before. Yes, it has. Everything's been done before. And that's okay. Look, you're not the first person to write about dragons or aliens or love conquering all. What makes your story unique is the fact that you're telling it. You're taking concepts that readers have read a zillion times and you're writing it in your style. You're subverting tropes in your own way. You're crafting characters with unique voices. The intricacies and details are what make the story unique, not the concept. So stop pretending you're reinventing the wheel. You sound like a fucking moron. You're just telling people you don't read, since that's the only way you could possibly believe this ridiculous claim. And if you don't read, that's a really bad sign for your writing. Stop it. Number 5, my sequel is gonna do even better than my first book. First of all, we gotta consider the curse of the sucky sequel. A lot of people believe that the sequel is always worse than the first book, so you've got that mindset working against you. Additionally, the first book of the series will always be the easiest one to sell, because it's the starting point. Books 2, 3, and beyond are pretty much only marketable to those who have already read book 1, because readers typically don't like to start in the middle of a series. But with the first book, you can market to anyone within your target audience. You can always bring in new readers. Now, that doesn't mean that your sequel won't perform well. Plenty of them do. But you need to be realistic about the fact that it will be a lot harder to sell versus book 1, and there's gonna be some drop-off. Your only readership pool are those who have read book 1, and not everyone who read book 1 is gonna read book 2. Either because they didn't like book 1, they're not invested enough to continue, or they simply forget. Number 6, my goal is to read the next book series that shall not be named. I've been trying so hard to avoid talking about that book series written by that dumbass TERF, but I can't make this video without addressing this topic because so many writers say this to me and it makes me shrivel up like a scrotum in the ocean. For the sake of this point, I'm going to refer to the series as Wizard Butthole. That's the nicest name I could think of. So you want to write the next Wizard Butthole. Let me ask you this. Can you name a single book series within the last 30 years that's as popular as Wizard Butthole? A series that not only spawned multiple movies, but endless merch, Halloween costumes, and an entire fucking amusement park? How many books can you name with an amusement park? I'm waiting. Look, the odds are you're not writing the next Wizard Butthole, and that's fine. No one wants more Wizard Butthole, and we certainly don't want more authors of Wizard Butthole. Maybe focus on crafting a story that is special and meaningful to you, rather than replicating the fame of someone else. Besides, in case you've been living under a rock, the author of Wizard Butthole isn't exactly loved. She alienated a significant portion of her audience. I'm not even naming her because so many people find her enraging. Do you really want that? I don't think so. Number 7, it's the author's duty to diligently read and respond to reviews. Are you on crack? I have no idea how this became an assumption among anyone because holy shit. Talk about a complete lack of common sense as well as a lack of respect for your readership. First of all, book reviews do not exist so that readers can critique and provide feedback specifically and directly to the author. In fact, if most people knew their review was being read by the author, they'd be mortified. These are their personal feelings about the book, and they are just trying to share those feelings with other readers who might feel the same way. Remember, your book is a product, and they are commenting on their experience with that product. This is not about you. On top of that, responding to reviews is beyond inappropriate. Most reviewers consider this a private space for them to express their feelings about the product they purchased. Responding to the review is super unprofessional and incredibly embarrassing. As much as the reviews feel personal to you, they're not. Respect your reader's autonomy and stop being an asshole. Number 8, this book is gonna make me rich. Is it possible to get rich off of novels? Yes. Is this the standard result of becoming a novelist? Not so much. Based on my research, the average advance for a traditionally published debut novel is somewhere between $5,000 and $20,000. An advance covers 2 years worth of payment, so we're looking at $2,500 versus $10,000 a year, which isn't exactly something you can live off of. Self-publishing, of course, does not have reliable averages, but it's quite often for an indie writer to not break even on their debut. That means they paid more to publish the book versus what they earned. I am not saying this to discourage you. I made a profit off of my debut novel. My books are selling well enough that I'm making more money as a writer than I did when I worked in finance. But it typically takes multiple publications for a writer to start making good money off their work. It's extremely rare to become rich off of one book alone, so if that's your motivation for being a writer, you're in the wrong industry. Number 9, the book will sell itself. I almost didn't add this to the list because I've already said it so many times, but this list wouldn't be accurate without it because despite all my efforts, people still believe this trash. Let me give you a reality check. Not a single person is in the habit of cruising through Amazon, browsing thousands upon thousands of books just to find the ones that are by nameless writers they've never heard of and have no reviews so they can purchase them. That doesn't happen. For the love of God, market your fucking book. That goes for you too, traditionally published writers. I don't need to tell you that because your publishing house is gonna tell you that. In fact, they're gonna demand it. I'm not gonna elaborate on this point because I've already beaten it into the ground in previous videos. Just go watch them. Just watch the videos, they're there. If releasing a product without marketing actually worked, you wouldn't see commercials, advertisements, and product placements in every form of media all the time. And number 10, being a writer is a career based solely on artistry. If you're a hobby writer, then this statement is absolutely true. It's all about artistry. However, if you are truly trying to make writing a career, then it's about art and business. You are writing a story, and that's art, but you are selling that story as a product, and that's a business. It's that simple. You can't get away with not understanding the business. And if that makes you feel like less of an artist, then hobby writing is probably the best bet for you. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. If you love learning like I do and you want to explore your creativity, then Skillshare is the way to go. Plus, the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description below are going to get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. You can take creative writing classes, you can take my digital marketing classes, you can take my self-publishing classes, you can take all the classes. Definitely click that link, get on it, you won't regret it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. The Savior's Champion and The Savior Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. They're available all over the place at all major retailers, so definitely pick up a copy today. I got them linked below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and BookBub, and of course you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
Hello, Dove. It's me, Cosima. Do me a favor, subscribe to Jenna's channel and ring the bell. I would be ever so grateful. Go on and subscribe. I'll be waiting for you once you've finished.